Hello, Lenawee County. My name is Brian Vish, and here are the headlines for this week in Lenawee.
Accurate, dependable, and late breaking. This is local and state news on WLEN, Lenawee's local news station.
Farmers across Michigan are using drones to save time and improve crop health. Michigan State University Extension Conservation Systems agronomy educator Rich Price says camera drones are changing how farmers scout their fields.
The camera drones can go out there, they can capture a lot of acreage over a short period of time. They have really high resolution cameras, just like our modern cell phones, to take really cool pictures and give the farmer an indication of different problems they may see in their fields that they wouldn't have caught earlier on or by walking. And that's a really cool thing that modern technology has given us recently. Simple imagery from camera drones can give us an indication of areas where we might have bad plant health or good plant health.
Price says the technology also extends to larger spray drones.
When we get into the spray drone topic and we're talking about those larger implements, we can put fungicide on, we can put fertilizer on, we can put herbicide on, and they have dry boxes that we can actually put seeds on to our fields, which is really helpful.
MSU Extension experts say drone use is helping farmers increase yields, lower costs, and be better stewards of the land. As fall leaves begin to cover pastures, Michigan State University Extension is warning horse owners about a seasonal risk. Statewide equine extension educator Tom Guthrie explains.
Consumption of wilted or dry red maple tree leaves can be toxic to horses because they can cause destruction to the red blood cells, which limits oxygen carrying capacity. Toxicity typically occurs in the fall during normal leaf drop and when pastures tend to have less available forage. However, other factors such as frost, tree trimming, and storm damage may also contribute to wilted leaves. While most reported horse toxicity cases implicate red maple, Acer rubrum, leaves, a few other species of maple trees that are commonly found in Michigan include sugar maple and silver maple. Signs of toxicity may include depression, lethargy, dark reddish to brown colored urine, increased rate of breathing, and increased heart rate.
That was Tom Guthrie with Michigan State University Extension. He reminds owners that fresh leaves are less dangerous, but horses should still avoid them. Guthrie says keeping enough pasture forage and cleaning up fallen leaves can help reduce the risk. The Croswell Opera House is bringing the story of Bonnie and Clyde to the stage this weekend. Artistic director Jerry Ryder says audiences can expect an intense and emotional ride.
You're going to be on your seat, at the edge of your seat the whole time. It's just, the music is going to get you, the incredible story. And of course, I mean, it's funny how you're going to want to root for Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
And yet then you see them doing these terrible things. So it really like causes your brain to be in a little bit of a like, oh, I don't like them at all. But still we're all going to be sad because we know what happens to them.
Ryder added that Bonnie and Clyde, the musical, explores the dangerous pull of fame and idol worship.
It is an interesting story to put to a musical, that's for sure. But it really, it's hard to say this in some ways, but it's actually kind of fun. You know, these were two real people who just were in love with the idea of celebrity. And instead of taking that down a path of, you know, we would think of now like stardom and becoming famous and, you know, that time the radio or even film or early days of television, they chose to take celebrity to a different place and really obviously go down a really negative, difficult path. So in many ways, their story is a bit of a cautionary tale that the need for idol worship, for people to worship you and look up to you, can really take you down a really difficult path.
That was the Croswell's artistic director, Jerry Ryder. The show runs October 17th through the 26th at the Croswell Opera House here in downtown Adrian. State Representative Nancy Jenkins-Arno has helped secure $12 million in state funding for the Sam Beauford Woodworking Institute in Adrian. The funding is part of Michigan's 2026 state budget, which will allow the school to expand its classrooms and workshops, buy new equipment, and welcome more students from around the country. Jenkins-Arno says she made the project her top priority in the state budget process.
Luke Barnett, who's the president of Sam Beauford Woodworking Institute, came to me early on when I was not even thinking about running for a state representative again, just to ask me what's the process for getting something like this rolling. And so I was able to work with him on that. And then not knowing that I would be coming back and actually being the one to present it to the state.
That was State Representative Nancy Jenkins-Arno. In a press release, Jenkins-Arno added the investment will strengthen Lenawee County's skilled trades programs and help create more fine woodworking and craftsmanship career opportunities. 6 Adrian Public School students are the recipients of the October 2025 Outstanding Citizen Award. At the APS Board of Education's regular meeting this past Monday, Superintendent Nate Parker presented the awards, which recognize students who demonstrate qualities of Maple pride: productivity, respect, integrity, determination, and excellence. The awarded students are Cecilia McKee from Alexander Elementary, Caden Miller from Lincoln Elementary, Rosalie Haskell from Mishner Elementary, Jonathan Sipes from Prairie Elementary, Sydney Johnson from Springbrook Middle School, and Emma Pino from Adrian High School. Congratulations to all you from WLEN News. The state of Michigan has approved funding to study a new way of paying for roads through a road user charge, or RUC. The system would base road funding on how many miles people drive instead of how much gas they buy, aiming to make future funding more stable as more drivers switch to electric or fuel-efficient vehicles. State Senator Veronica Kleinfeld of East Point chairs the Senate Transportation Appropriations Subcommittee. She said the goal is to connect road costs directly to usage rather than unrelated taxes, saying, quote, "I would like to eventually get to a system that is based on roads. The fees that come in are based on the usage of the roads and not based on some tax that doesn't have anything to do with roads," end quote. The fiscal 2026 budget includes $7.65 million for the Michigan Department of Transportation to run the pilot program and test how a mileage-based system could work statewide. Lenawee County's Bridging the Gap Subcommittee is reviewing over 24 local applications for opioid settlement funding to support addiction recovery and prevention efforts across the county. County Administrator Kim Murphy says the subcommittee has been meeting regularly to evaluate proposals and ensure each is fairly reviewed.
We received somewhere in the neighborhood of 26 applications or programs where people are requesting funding. And so the committee has been working. They're actually meeting twice a month right now to review all the applications. Presentations are being made. Yesterday there were 4 presentations that came before them. Today they're meeting to hear another presentation. We will continue to go through this, and then the subcommittee is actually scoring each presentation during the process, so they can kind of keep track of where they are, because as you can imagine, hearing all these different presentations, things would kind of run together if you waited towards the end. Ms. Zisk from our staff is the administrative support to this committee, helping them walk through that, keeping track of all the information, getting the information to the committee members as they are making some very difficult decisions about scoring. When it's all said and done, the committee will get together, take a look at what their scoring looks like, and then figure out if they need to weight things a little bit differently than originally intended. And then they will make a recommendation to the full Board of Commissioners.
That was County Administrator Kim Murphy. The final selections will be presented at the end of the year or early 2026. The Tecumseh Planning Commission has approved a plan change for the Lone Oak Housing Project on Bishop Reed Drive. The update allows 37 single-family rental homes to be built on just over 9 acres. A private company will manage the homes, which will be designed to meet city building and safety rules. Development Services Director Ed Engel spoke with WLEN News and said the project maintains high standards.
These homes are not, and I think what's happened, the clouded view in our minds saying it's a renter means it's a lower type of community. These are not. These are high-end homes, well built. They have to adhere to all the strict Michigan building codes, and also because of the density, there's fire regulations that are going into this development. So it's well thought out. It wasn't just put together last weekend. The state of Michigan is on board with this type of development. I think it fits our area, it fits our master plan. These are not done incorrectly. So that's what I'm saying as far as the integrity and how they're built, fire separation. I think it's going to be a well. In the event if I was in the market, I would be tempted to come in and live in one of these homes.
That was Development Services Director Ed Engel. The proposal now heads to the Tecumseh City Council for final approval. The Lenawee County Board of Commissioners has recognized longtime employee Kim Kramer for more than 42 years of service. Kramer began her career in the county in 1982 and has led the printing and purchasing department since 1989. Commissioner Kevin Martis read the proclamation.
Kim has exemplified professionalism, institutional knowledge, and a strong work ethic that has earned her the admiration of her colleagues and the respect of the entire organization. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Lenawee County Board of Commissioners, do hereby honor and commend Kim for her nearly 43 years of dedicated public service. Be it further proclaimed that we extend our deepest gratitude for her invaluable contributions and offer our warmest wishes for a well-earned retirement filled with happiness, health, and exciting new adventures.
That was Commissioner Kevin Martis. Kramer thanked her co-workers and their support and introduced her successor, Crystal Crisp Maker, who will take over as director. And now for a quick dive into the cave. Here are the local highlights of the sports update on Inside the Cave. The Hudson Tigers football team will be celebrating 50 years since the streak on Friday night at Thompson Field. The Tigers amassed a record 72 consecutive wins from 1968 to 1975. Hudson alumni director Lindsey Rogers was recently on 96.5 The Cave to preview the special night for the community. If you have seen the Tigers play this season, you may have noticed something similar to the late 60s and early 70s, the unique design of the uniform.
That was a really exciting thing that they did this year, to replicate those, and, especially with the helmet, they used the leaping tiger on it, which, turned out really great. That was a little hard for them to figure out and find, and you want to make sure, you want to have respect for all of that, right? If you're going to do it, it's got to be done right. So it took a lot of time, and, but they got it figured out, and I think you'll see a couple more things from the streak this weekend, that they are really trying to bring back, to honor the coaches and team and everything.
The Adrian College men's soccer team dropped a hard-fought 2-1 decision to conference rival Albion College on Wednesday night inside Docking Stadium. Adrian struck first in the 38th minute when Kyle Peterson buried his second goal of the season to give the Bulldogs a 1-0 advantage heading into halftime. The home side controlled much of the early play, outshooting the Britons 7-1 in the opening 45 minutes. Albion responded after the break, netting the equalizer in the 58th minute before scoring again in the 75th to put the visitors ahead for good. Peterson and Kyle Jennings led the offensive push with a combined 7 shots. Adrian finished with 10 total shots and 6 on goal compared to Albion's 9. The preseason national polls for NCAA Division III men's hockey were recently released by D3 Hockey News and USCHO.com, with the Adrian College Bulldogs earning the number 10 ranking in both polls to open the 2025-26 season. The Bulldogs are coming off an 18-10-1 campaign in their first season under head coach Adam Phillips. Adrian finished fourth in the NCHA standings with a 10-7-1 conference record, securing the number 4 seed in the NCHA Harris Cup playoffs. The Bulldogs advanced past MSOE in the quarterfinals after a thrilling mini-game victory, then stunned number 2 seed Aurora University with a road shutout. Adrian's postseason run concluded with a loss to top-ranked St. Norbert in the Harris Cup Finals, narrowly missing the NCAA tournament berth as the first team out and finishing number 11 in the NPI rankings. In the USCHO.com poll, fellow NCHA programs St. Norbert Aurora and Trine also earned top 10 recognition. The D3 Hockey News preseason poll mirrors those results. Hobart enters the season as the number 1 ranked team in both polls, while Adrian's opening weekend opponent, Utica University, holds the number 2 spot. The NCAA Division III women's hockey preseason polls were recently released as well by D3 Hockey News and USCHO.com, with the Adrian College Bulldogs earning the number 9 ranking in both national polls to open this current 25-26 season. Adrian is coming off a strong 2024-25 campaign in which the team posted a 23-4-2 overall record. The Bulldogs finished second in the NCHA standings with a 15-1-2 conference mark and advanced to the Slats Cup final after a dominant playoff run. Their postseason ended in a heartbreak, however, as Adrian fell 3-2 in overtime on the road to St. Norbert College and narrowly missing out on the NCAA tournament berth. St. Norbert ranked number 6 and is only the only other NCH team featured in the national polls. The Bulldogs will open the 2025-26 regular season on October 31st and November 1st with a 2-game road series at number 2 Augsburg University. And that'll wrap it up for this week in Lenawee. I'm Brian Vish for WLEN, Lenawee's local news station.
Count on WLEN, Lenawee's local news station, to keep you informed with accurate and dependable information 24 hours a day.